GM fam, what's up? What's good? Welcome back. Today we are doing another Metaverse Spotlight. If you caught Monday's edition of the Metaverse Spotlight with King of Crypto Games, it's going to be similar to that one. This will be the third one that we did. We also did one with Ice Age and the Pickaxe Master. Unfortunately, that one was on Twitter, so there isn't a replay of that one available anymore. But today we have Tuschay Studios in the house and the man himself, Tuschay, here to drop a bunch of knowledge and cool stuff about what they've been building in the metaverse. Because, well, that's like knowledge. We'll segue away from knowledge real quick. But you are a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you have to admit that you've been building in the game maker for a long time, so you definitely know a thing or two. But anyways, why don't you give us a little introduction, because I'm sure there'll be people catching the replay, or maybe are here right now live, that don't know who you are. And I'm going to switch over to the screen so you guys can see us hanging out in the social hub. If you guys don't know, I have a social hub in the sandbox. Go to the game maker, go to the drafts gallery, search Club Z, and come hang out with us.
Come
And
vibe.
yeah, come vibe. But yeah, give us a little introduction of you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, my name is James or Tuschay, whatever you guys want to call me. Most people probably call me Tuschay at this point, which is still weird for me in public um, when I meet y'all. But yeah, I'm the founder of Tuschay Studios, which is a studio in the sandbox. We build stuff. We're part of the Game Maker Fund and a partner for the sandbox, and we build stuff with mushrooms mostly. We got the fun guys. Come out in season 2 and then again in season 3 and drop a little bit of beans on season 4 later. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we got a bunch of experiences that we're working on. 9 right now in the studio, and yeah, super excited to be here. Always lovely to be on with Crafter. I think it's the third time we've been
Yeah,
in chat, right?
I think so, because we've done two behind the avatars, and
Yeah.
now a
And now you got your
metaverse.
Nike social hub, dude. This is
Yeah,
dope. I
hell
love it.
yeah. I know. That's what we were talking before we got on. This has been a long time in the making. I've been just waiting to be able to do like a social hub and have everyone come and listen to the show. And obviously you still have to listen through Twitch, but you can come and hang out and actually experience the show
Yo,
how
man,
I envisioned it being.
I
So,
think this is dope, dude. It's like if you're like you're ever listening to a podcast that you like, and you're just like, I'm just gonna stop by today. It's
yeah.
like that's the coolest little flavor onto the podcast thing. Plus,
Yeah.
then people can ask you questions in the game and on Twitch, and it's like a whole interactive thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's one more thing for me to have to keep track of, which I'm everyone already knows I'm poor at that, is keeping up with the chat. But but you guys have learned to just repeat your questions if you need to. Um, I'll see it. I'll see it eventually. But yeah, it is. It's super cool that we've gotten to this point, and it's only going to get more and more fun as
Yeah,
as
for
we
sure.
go on. Um,
And you did a nice job with this, dude. I like the lights, the little weed emote going around and
yeah.
everything. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I actually I have a whenever you guys run up, my crafter character there says GM, but he's also supposed to blow out a puff of smoke every time, every time somebody runs up. But I can't get the logic right to get it to reset. Because I can get it to do it once, but then the visual effect won't reset. But that's
Yeah.
that's a problem for another episode.
I actually was having that same problem yesterday, dude. So I feel that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it is. It's
Oh man. Point
but
eight. You love it, and sometimes you're like so frustrated that you're like, "Oh man, what is going on right now?" Like,
yeah, I know.
it
That's
was almost like relearning the game maker a little bit. Like,
a little bit is right.
yeah, there were so many things involved in it that you're just like, okay, I remember this feeling, and it's not a nice one. It's like I feel like I'm back to square one with all this stuff.
Yeah, I feel the same way because I was like just starting to get comfortable in Game Maker, and now it all changed because like I
Yeah.
for the longest time I just was messing around in Vox Edit, and then I started to start to dabble with Game Maker, and then like I was starting to get comfortable and kind of know like at least like where to start doing things, and then now it all changed on me. Like I was in that builder battle that Outer hosted. Shout out Outer Studios. And they
Did Was that a point eight one?
yeah, it was a point eight one, and I could not figure out where to go to make a ladder climbable. Like I I don't know if I just like was not seeing it or if it moved, but I was so confused and I was just like, you know what? F it. And I I ended up I built so where the ladder was, I built or I didn't build, I placed water blocks and so then people could swim up to the next level that they
Nice.
needed to
Yeah,
get to.
that's what we're looking at.
Because
We need the Minecraft approach to
yeah,
ladders.
yeah, exactly. Because I was in a hurry because I was like, I don't know where this damn climbable button is. Like, I'm just gonna do that. But
I was
anyways,
uh I was talking with Woke Zombie at the time, who's one of the team members that we have, and you all know Woke Zombie,
yeah,
and he was like we both got point eight like about like a week before it was released, and I I was like, dude, is it just me or did they remove like a bunch of stuff from all of our components and behaviors? Like, what gives? And he's like, yeah, dude, I don't see all this stuff. And I was like, it was a solid like hour of me poking around, going, why would they do this? Why would they do this? And he messages me. He's like, dude, there's a button on the top with a drop down for multiplayer and single player stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, like it took me so long to find that thing.
and yeah, and that's what that's what I finally realized. I didn't realize it in the thing, but in the competition, but like afterwards, I remember reading somebody's comment, and then I went back and looked, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, it's just like, guys, really, you gotta add another element to all of this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and I'm
I
like,
gotta press two buttons instead of one. How dare you?
yeah, and I mean, whatever. I mean that is fine, whatever. But like, just the fact that it was like not there, I was just so it was so confusing. And I'm sure
No,
that's confused a lot of people because like there's some key things that are in that multiplayer screen that you don't see anymore, and it's like, what the hell's going on?
yeah, dude. Yeah, and it's like some things you don't expect to find in different screens. Like I'm like, where's platforms? Why are platforms gone? I want
Mm-hmm.
platforms back. And he's
Yeah,
like, they're there. They're just hidden from you. And I'm like, that's not cool. Why you gotta hide things?
seriously, I would rather just be able to scroll through everything than than to have to like
Yeah,
click
right.
click
Like
deeper.
it's indicated enough in the name what it is. Just for like just scroll down, have the single player on top, multiplayer, and then legacy stuff. That would be nice.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess
All the
that's
things that we wish we could improve with the
I
game
know.
maker, right?
Yeah,
All in
exactly.
due time.
I feel like that this topic always comes up whenever I have any builders on the show is just there's definitely like little things that could be my game maker crashed that could be um fixed, but I saw Hodl was saying that her game maker kept crashing too. Um
Which everyone's just trying to rush in. That's the problem,
yeah, we're
guys.
getting slammed. Metaverse spotlights killing Sandbox.
So how do you
Well,
feel about having this studio and everything now? Like now that you got a whole space and everything, you feel like it's a little bit better interaction and everything.
yeah, yeah, I really like the vibe. I think it's just fun to see people actually showing up to the show and sitting down and listening, and there were people like you said, like sending messages over in the Sandbox chat. There were people sending messages in the Twitch. Like it was it was super fun the first
I bet it gives you a bunch of ideas too, right? Like you're just like, oh,
mhm.
I gotta do this. I gotta make this. I gotta add all this stuff in there.
Totally, totally. It's
Yeah,
like as you start to like see and hear how people are like interacting with the experience, it's like, oh, like duh, like I should do that.
yeah.
And yeah, like and,
Yeah,
and
that's cool, man. You're never gonna stop thinking about that, though. You're gonna always want to keep adding. Like this thing is just gonna grow and grow and grow, and eventually you're just gonna have this like. You should take screenshots, of like what it was then and now and stuff, like throughout the few months and stuff. I bet
yeah,
it's gonna evolve quite a bit.
yeah, that's a good idea to take some screenshots. Luckily, I've basically only been working on it when I'm streaming. So like I can go back and kind of get some screenshots from that because yeah,
Nice.
it has just like slowly evolved over time, and it'll be cool to see where it goes.
Like when videos start working, you can put like the screen in the background, right? And like play videos that are
Yes.
uploaded beforehand and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like that'd be so sick.
Yeah, and like when the show isn't going on, there can be the replay of the week before show or whatever
Right?
up
That'd
there,
be
and
awesome.
yeah, no, it's I have so many. Like you
So
nailed
many.
it on the head. There's so many ideas just going through my head, and it's like it's like I was trying to like figure out like exactly like what I wanted to like really build, and finally I kind of found it. It's like, oh duh, like I love doing these podcasts. Let's fucking build the podcast studio in the metaverse and do stuff around that. So that's what I'm doing. But
Well, I
enough
think you
about
could say you're the first one, right? You're the
what.
first one to do this, right?
Yeah,
So like,
and so
hey,
I
there
can
you go. First
legitimately
metaverse
say
podcast.
first metaverse podcast. Um, yeah, and I'm gonna run with that one for as long as I can, which I think is forever because I honestly I've never seen anyone else do this. I kind of pay attention to what they're doing over in Decentraland and stuff too, and I mean there could have obviously something been missed by me, but I feel like I would have saw if somebody was like recording a podcast over there too,
Well,
and
especially in the sandbox, right? It's easier to keep tab on that.
yeah,
So
I mean
it's
it's
like,
definitely a person in the sandbox. So if we have to put an asterisk, we will. But but anyways, enough about me and what we're doing here. I appreciate you being curious, and it's fun to talk about it. But that's on all my other streams. I want to know more about what you have been up to. So
oh,
and it seems like a whole heck of a lot of stuff. Like
yeah, dude.
you it's that trailer I'll pull it up later. That trailer that you guys put out teasing the different stuff that you have developed, like it just blew my mind. I was like, damn, like they've been working. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, so it's awesome to see.
Thanks, dude.
What
Yeah, it seems to be real busy.
yeah, I bet. um what I don't even know where to start. Like what has been the most like focus, where has the most focus been just building out multiple different game experiences, because it seemed like there's quite a few. Like is that kind of what you guys are focused on, is getting a bunch of games going now, or what?
I guess. Well, I mean, I guess the focus when I first started the studio was really to like get the fungi stuff out there, right? Like I want the whole story to be told as much as we can, right? Like obviously not everything's just gonna get dropped like a novel at once, but I wanted the story to get expanded from what I did, which is like the fungi kingdom. You know, the only thing that's really been released right now is the social hub, and so from there I kind of wanted to go, okay, well we definitely have this game, right? So everyone kind of started like play the game and saw where my mind was at with the Fungi Kingdom game,
Hmm.
and what the story was being told there. And then I really I knew where I wanted to go with it afterwards. Like there's this whole thing, and I'll be spoiling a little bit of the story here, but like after you're done in the Fungi Kingdom, like you end up going out into space for another problem, right? And so the game kind of ends with this scene of you going out into space. I won't say why, but there's a whole thing that happens that makes like, the you realize that this little like mushroom alcove that you've been in isn't the only thing that exists in like the fungi like world. And so from there, the game kind of jumps into fungi universe, right? And I
Hmm.
wanted there to be like a transition between the Fungi Kingdom game and then the Fungi universe. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if like you actually made a like mini game that was like going out into space? And one of my favorite games of all time is Galaga. This isn't something that's actually in the trailer. We're gonna release a separate trailer for Fungi Space Cadet, but Fungi Space Cadet is like the next kind of phase into that, where you're finally going from the Fungi Kingdom out into the Fungi universe, in like a Galaga type of game.
Uh-huh.
If you ever played Galaga, super popular game,
Yeah.
like one the game that like when I was growing up in New York, there's we had a bakery, and next door to the bakery was this pizza place that had an arcade machine, and it was the only arcade machine that they had was Galaga. So like as a
Heck
kid, I
yeah.
would spend hours just sitting there playing Galaga and like giving these people so many quarters, and just
Seriously, I'm thinking back
like
to like a pizza
just so
joint that
many
we would
quarters.
go to that I would play just
Like
that
I
one
literally would go
game.
to the bakery and go, can I have some change? And then just like grab fistfuls of quarters and then go over to these places and stack my quarters on the arcade machine and just play Galaga for hours. They had that in a foosball table. So like when I would finish playing Galaga, it was like foosball and then back to the Galaga.
Back to Galaga.
Um,
Yeah.
so I love Galaga and I wanted to make a Galaga type game. So that's a game that we have kind of coming in the future and stuff. And then from there, it was really about expanding what the fungi really do, right? So it was kind of like showing a different perspective on the fungi because up until then you're Mia and you drop into like your grandpa's farm and you're in this world that you don't know about and everything and you learn more about how these mushroom people live and everything. But from there, it's like they're not just the only mushroom people and they're not the only way of living, right? So what other kind of stories can we tell and how can we're really big on nature and stuff and how can we incorporate that like
Hmm.
live and let live kind of motto into different games. So Fungi Universe focuses on 6 different planets that you're no longer on just one planet, but now you have this UFO kind of spaceship thing that brings you out into the fungi universe, and it gives you the ability to travel between 6 different planets. So
Hell
in the
yeah.
trailer, what you see is like a little clip of each of those planets that you go in through and explore, and that's a massive game. That's a 3x3 land, and we've completely mapped out the entire thing so that we have these different planet like atmospheres in there.
Uh,
So it's an
Sweet.
absolutely giant game. What's crazy to me is like you start building on something like a 3x3 and you don't really realize how much space there is. And so you like do this.
Uh-huh.
And even crazier for us is like what we did is like divided the 3x3 in half. So like if you imagine like the whole height of a sandbox map, we cut that in half and then cut that into corridors. And so really what you have is like 6 1x3 games, right? Because
Uh-huh.
of how we cut that up. And so it's like we're building 6 different 1x3 experiences on these lands, and it's just massive. It's like the social hub was a 1x1, and what we're playing with now is like not 9 lands, but really 18 lands because of the way that we split it up in half, and it's just so big. And so
That's
um,
that's a lot.
there's yeah, there's so much room to kind of like tell these different stories and the amount of assets that the team has built. I think we're at uh, I counted them the other day. I think we're at like 1,600 assets that are being used between all these experiences.
Damn.
And they're just, I mean, they're rock stars at producing assets and like kind of just like grabbing an idea that I have and then just like going off and
Hell
doing their
yeah.
own thing with it.
Yeah.
Um,
I love
so
that.
that's really our focus was that like how can we tell these stories and like make it kind of like an arc where there isn't really an end in it. I know what the end of the fungi story is, but we're not there yet. What we're at is kind of like I would say phase 1 out of 3, right?
Okay.
Where Fungi Kingdom is kind of phase 1, Fungi Universe is phase 2, and then our next game that we haven't even started development in yet because we don't have all the tools that we need for that yet is Fungi Discovery, where you're finally kind of going from the perspective of a human playing in this fungi world into actually playing as fungi, and you
Mm.
play as like this like world of fungi, and that's going to be a survival type game. So if you've ever played, obviously Minecraft comes to mind, but there's so many like survival type games that are out there where you have to chop down a tree to grab the things to make a house, and then you have to go do all the stuff.
Yep.
That's going
Yep.
to be a game more focused on that and what it's like to be a mushroom living in a mushroom world that has to make mushroom things and kind of live and forage for food and then go and defend themselves from enemies and build themselves a house and all that stuff. And so we have that game kind of sitting on the back burner right now until we finish the development on these other 9 games that we're working on right now. But then I really got to thinking like what else do we do, right? Like you're playing as a fungi, wouldn't it be cool to play as a gastro guy, the enemies of the fungi too? So that's when we kind of came up with the idea for Fungi Bug Out, where you're now playing as the gastro guy, and you're living in what a snail lives through, right? Like this, what does a
Uh-huh.
bug go through in a day to day life, right? And how does that look in like the fungi world? So in Fungi Bug Out, you play as one of the gastro guys, kind of going through a day in the life of a gastro guy, but then being presented with a problem that they have to go solve, and your enemies are now the fungis, and you have to defeat fungis and kind of go and like do a whole bunch of stuff inside of that like world. Um, and then from there, it was kind of just like, how do we really like that? As far as like the storyline goes, it fits into the storyline, but then I wanted to do like some other things, like little mini games that are one-offs, right? So like we have Zombie on the team, who is an incredible builder, and he has the way he thinks about mechanics is so out of the box that I was just kind of like, dude, what would you like to make? Like
Hmm.
a thing that I don't like doing in the studio is giving people like boxes to stay in, right? Like I don't want to give people like step by step instructions on how to do something, because that's, if
Yeah.
that were the case, I might as well just do it myself, right?
Yeah.
So I really want people to kind of come in and like, here's this idea, here's this IP that I have. How would you use it? Like, how would you work with it, right? So we came up with Fungi Frenzy, which is kind of just like you play again as a gastro guy, and you're eating fungi, but they're in this shape of these coins. So it's more like a
Okay.
mini game where you're like going across these maps and kind of doing your own thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then when Point Eight came out and everything, I was like, well, we could kind of make a racing game now. Like, so how would a racing game look in the sandbox? And what would it be like if you could just like race around in little carts? Another one of my games that like I played endlessly, and I still think I'm the best out of all my friends, despite what they say. Is fun. Is Mario Kart. I
Uh-huh.
played Mario Kart endlessly,
Same.
and it was like the one game that like, I'm notoriously really bad at shooters. I'm like really bad at a lot of like different games, especially like competitive ones. But Mario Kart was like the one game that like no one could beat me at when I was a kid. And I was like, I played it so much. And then they did like a Mario Kart online situation, and I found out how bad I really was at the game and everything. So
Yeah.
I really wanted to like play Mario Kart inside of the sandbox, but with the fun guys. So Biagi, who's one of our team members, created these like carts. I gave him basically all I said was I want each fun guy to have a cart. Like tell me like what would they look like, and then build them out. And the only requirement is that if you're a fun guy and you pick up this cart, that your head is just sticking out over the steering wheel, and so you
Yeah.
can actually like look like you're driving it around.
Uh-huh.
So he went ahead and created seven of the carts, and then I was like, we need one for the fungi family, just like an overall fungi family cart.
Sure.
So there's 8 different carts there that you'll play around with, which is the amount of cars that were in the original Mario Kart game.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna have like our own little Mario Kart game, and that's gonna be like a social hub, so we can kind of do something different from in the social hub perspective, where like there is like a whole meetup and hangout situation to it, but then you also have a like leaderboard and something that you can do inside of the game that's not just like sitting around and wondering what's going on. It's like now there's like a race, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
you play for a race and go through the checkpoints and do all the things that you would normally do in like a racing kind of game. Um, so that's where that game came out. And then I mean, from there it was kind of just like exploring all these different things that we could do. Like, and I think one of the coolest things is like the team really has their own ideas for what we could bring to the fun guys. That I always go like even if I didn't think of it, we'll grab that and fit that into the story somehow, right? Like that's
A hundred
so
percent. Yeah.
that's kind of like where my focus was, is like building out what it means to be a fun guy, and like giving people a story to kind of go with, that really made sense for, if you're new to the sandbox, if you're new to the fun guys, if whatever, like you have this whole, you know beginning, middle, and end of a whole IP that you can kind of explore now in the sandbox. And yeah, so we have a bunch of games now, and then we're also working on some other stuff that isn't fungi related, but that hasn't. That's for a later tease. But yeah, that's kind of where we were at for at the beginning.
That's
and now.
yeah, I mean, that's a lot. So, I mean, 9 games is plenty.
Yeah.
To be to Are you guys working on them all like in tandem, or is that how it goes? Is just like there's just a little bit of work being done on all of them, or is there like focus on one at a time, or how do you guys handle that?
It's all of them at the same time, really. So we have on the team we are 14 people now. So we have a few members that are working on like Game Maker Fun games that like Touche Studios helps out with creating assets and marketing and doing all that stuff with. So those are like kind of standalone projects that we have our hands in terms of like helping, but we don't necessarily drive that bus, right? Like it's their project, their kind of goals in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we help out with those developments of those games, and then at the same time we're working on inside of the actual like Discord that I have, we have everything broken up into different what each game is, right? So like there's a channel for each game, and so everyone can kind of see what everyone's working on. But at the same time, we meet every actually our team meetings are every Wednesday. So we just had our team meeting a few hours ago,
Okay.
and that's when we kind of get together and do our powwows about like what's going on, like how's everyone doing, like anything that anybody can help you with. And then we have every other day we have a meeting for each specific game development. But generally, we have one game developer and one dedicated artist per game. So we have out of the 14 people, and we split everybody up. That kind of gives everybody one team member to kind of work with exclusively. And then I bounce around on each one, kind of just like giving ideas out, not necessarily building too much until it's time to like kind of go do that, and like they need help with anything. I go in and help. But yeah, we have different masterminds for each of those games, really. And then I focus really on getting Fungi Kingdom done and that ready for launch and everything. And then once that's done, kind of jump over. I find that there's I don't know if I'm sure you heard of the term "too many cooks in the kitchen."
Yeah.
I find that that really impacts the development of a game when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And I didn't want to necessarily like have 6 game developers working on a single game, because I felt like it would be too distracting, really. Like you really need someone's like mind to kind of wrap around a whole idea before like you can go and say, all right, like you tackle that corner of the map and you tackle that corner of the map. Like it would look really different from one
Mm-hmm.
another.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way that I thought it would be best to kind of give everyone like a project to work on. And so I looked at the team members and I was like, what would you like to do, right? First off, and then how would you like to incorporate that vision? So like Nate, who's here in the chat, I love his games and his idea of like, I think him and I vibe really well on like conservation and ecosystems and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna give you this idea for Fungi Universe. I'm definitely, I think that it would be something that you would be into. Like it's something that revolves around like taking care of the planets that we're on and everything, and how these fungi do that. So he's the developer on Fungi Universe. And then we have Steven, who's him and Biagi are Indonesia team members. And I thought, we had 2 members who are in the same country who speak the same language,
Yeah.
put them together on a game, and then they're doing Fungi Bug Out. Um, Woke Zombie is in charge of doing like the one-shot games, so he's helping us with Fungi Carts, and doing he did the Defender, which is one of the games that's in the trailer, which
Mm-hmm.
is like a tower defense type of game, and Fungi Frenzy, and then yeah, I mean so yeah, basically to answer your question in many words, everyone kind of does their own thing, and we all kind of meet up and just shoot ideas back and forth. I
Yeah,
close my door so my dog doesn't continue barking. So
for sure.
I can hear you.
Uh, we couldn't really hear it, or at least I couldn't really hear it.
He
Um,
distracts me more than anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, that's I like that approach. I think that's kind of a. I guess I don't know how um, bigger studios do things, or any studios do things really. But I feel like, yeah, like you could definitely run into that problem where like too many cooks in the kitchen. like things aren't getting done efficiently, um, or they're going in multiple different directions, or like it's just like becoming clunky because like you said, somebody's working over here and then somebody has a different style working over here, and then whenever they come together, it starts to look weird. So that's a cool approach. Seems like it's working. I mean, you're cranking out a bunch of really cool games from the looks of it. Um, I Speaking of games, do you want me to? I'm gonna pull up this real quick and just play your teaser. So if people haven't seen it, they can kind of see what we've been talking about, and then
Yeah.
we'll keep talking.
Yeah. Cool one.
Let me make sure the audio works. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna know that. We're just gonna play it. Let me know if the audio is working or not. Oop. It would help if I changed. Start over.
Audio seems to be working.
Dope. Enjoy.
So yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Dude, that's dope as hell though. Super cool. I'm trying to take that all in. So that's seven. That showed us seven of the games, and you said you're
Yeah.
working on nine. Is the other ones the Fungi Kingdom, or was the Fungi Kingdom
So we
in
got
there?
fungi. Well, technically, I guess there's 10 if you really want to count Fungi Kingdom as like two different experiences because there's the social hub and then the game.
Uh huh.
And then there's Fungi Space Cadet, which is Dealertronics' game that he's making for us. He's in the chat here.
Shout out.
And then we have Fungi Discovery that we haven't actually started. We're just brainstorming that concept right now, and
Okay,
how that kind of
gotcha,
works.
gotcha. And Fungi Discovery, is that the survival game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's going to be the survival game where you're as a fungi kind of playing around.
that sounds awesome. Like those that's like kind of maybe one of my favorite genres of like style of games is like survival style. Like I don't know, especially Minecraft. Like I spend so many hours playing the survival mode of Minecraft,
it's
and
it's
it's
definitely my favorite genre of games. Like whenever we like, I'm always playing games with like Kyle, who's in the chat, Mr. Gnarls, Andy. We're like always in a Discord call together. Like almost every day, we kind of meet up and
yeah.
chat. And then whenever we're like done doing work stuff, it's like we launch like a survival type of game most of the time. Like that's almost exclusively the type of games that we play. Lately, we've been playing some other games. Obviously, like Hogwarts came out, and so we've
Uh-huh.
jumped into that. And like there's racing games we play and shooters and stuff like that. Play a lot of Rocket League now, honestly. But like that's kind of like that's the theme for me is like what games do I like playing? Now can we make a fungi version of that game, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I like picture like my creativity only goes so far. So it's like what do I like doing? Okay, let's do that with the fun guys too.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage of the game, no pun intended, like everything, I mean, yeah, there are like probably some innovative ideas out there that haven't been done, but like almost everything has been done. So it's like what style do you like? Build that. Like that
Yeah.
just makes sense cuz like in the there obviously there's proven ones that are have been proven to be successful, so that like there's reasons behind that. So I think
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I think that in the sandbox, we're always going to have multiple types, multiple games of the same type, right? Like, you're
mhm.
always going to have a bunch of RPG games in there. You're going to have a bunch of different like racing games and social hubs and all this kind of thing. And it's not really about trying to one up another game. It's really about trying to bring your spin to it, right? Like that's how I see it. Like we're always I don't have any disillusions that we're going to be the best game developers or the best whatever like but like as long as we can have our twist to things and it still tells our story, I think that that's really the way to be successful inside of the sandbox and kind of continue kind of creating where you're still you still have this like game but it revolves around a different like way that someone's seen it before, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe everyone's going to play a racing game, but are they going to play a racing game with little mushrooms? And
Right.
so it's like kind of trying to add our spin to it is really the way that I thought it would be most successful.
I think that that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Like especially like you're already building a community around the IP that is the Fungi's, and so as that community grows, they're going to want to continue to play these different style games that have that same IP in it, and then eventually other people will see whatever XYZ game that they enjoy playing that has this fun twist to it, like you're saying, that is the fun
Yeah.
guys, and then they might be like, ooh, I like this twist. What other kind of games do has this same twist from you guys? And then they'll go down the rabbit hole. So
Yeah, and that was a big focus for me, right? It's like I created the fungi project about a year and a half ago, and so really like when I started doing all this NFT stuff with the fungis, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to do something and I had to do it fast. Like
mm-hmm.
it was like really just kind of jumping out of the gate and going, okay, I know I can draw. Like I'm an artist. I can do this kind of like collection and stuff and then I know I'm building in the sandbox. Like this was before I had like people on the studio and everything, obviously. But it was like, how can I bridge these two worlds together? And we are an NFT project that's very sandbox centric, right? Like we have a lot of things going on, but most of the stuff that we have going on is revolving around the sandbox, and that's because that's like the ecosystem that I can kind of like for lack of a better word, take advantage of and kind of like really propel that
Right.
for my holders and everything. So I really didn't want to like, if there's anyone in the fungi family that's not really into the sandbox, I still want to give them something to do and everything. But for those that are, most of the people that are in the fungi family are very much sandbox people, right? And so how
Right.
can we kind of give them something to do where they continuously see their little investment into this like NFT becomes this whole like ecosystem that they can play in and everything, right? And just giving them something to hopefully eventually be proud of, right? Like they're proud of having this like NFT that gives them access to all these worlds. Not that not anybody is going to be able to play this. A lot of the games that we're building are not going to be gated at all. But there's definitely going to be things for the community like in the fungi family to kind of take advantage of exclusively that I really wanted to bring forward. I guess actually now that I think of it, we have 11 games in development because I guess we have the fungi. Oh no, the fungi family fort is part of that. So yeah, so 10. But then that's really like the fungi centric experience is going to be in that fungi family fort. That's another 3x3 land that we're really just building out with everyone's like input in mind. And I do a lot of those buildings on the stream. Like most of the stuff that I've done inside of that experience has all been done on the stream.
Hmm.
Um, and it was to kind of like bring people into it, right? Like whenever someone goes in and plays that, if they wanted to like go around and like, you know, find an area, they're like, oh, I had something to do with that, you know, like it's either my fungi is in this game or like there's something that, you know, I said in the chat that eventually was incorporated into this game. Like
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool way of bringing in a community where they know they're valued, you know, they know that there's something in there for them specifically, but then that everyone else can explore as well. So a lot of the things that I do is really to bring the fungi family back into like the limelight for that situation, right?
Right.
One of the things that we're doing in Fungi Universe, where we're actually currently still like accepting people to kind of like submit stuff, is if you hold the fungi, you can submit this form and you can get your fungi in the game with the name that you give the fungi, and like we kind of revolve the storyline of that fungi around that person. So like I know a bunch of people that are in already watching the stream, like have their fungi in Fungi Universe. They're gonna meet their fungi in the game, and like you know, it might be in a hidden spot, it might be out in the open, it might be a quest giver, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it will have the name that they gave it, and it'll be very much like a personal touch to the game for them specifically.
That's rad. I should do that. I forget which wallet I have my fungi in, but I'll find it. Uh, uh, and check that out. Do they to do that? How would somebody submit that? Is that in the Discord? I would just imagine.
Yeah, there's we have a Tuschay coin, so that everyone that holds a fungi every month they get an airdrop of Tuschay coin, and then they could spend that coin in our Tuschay coin shop. So it's like a little arcade machine kind of thing, and you can kind of redeem tokens for stuff. So we opened up a few things that were kind of in development up until then. We just opened up that form. I think like uh, right after New Year's or something like that. I kind of forget that time is so weird.
Yeah.
So we opened that up so people that were kind of stacking up those Touche coin can kind of go in, spend some of their coins to get their fungi in the game, and it's really at no cost to them. They're like spending this make believe social token on getting something out of
Right.
it, right?
Yeah.
And then we're constantly doing more with that. Right now, the biggest project that I have going on outside of the sandbox is getting the fungi over to a new smart contract,
Mm-hmm.
where every fungi that anyone owns is going to get an airdrop of the equivalent fungi on a new smart contract. That's going to allow us to do a lot cooler stuff like staking. We're going to be able to airdrop those Touche coins like from a website interface and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, once we get that all worked out, we'll have a shop that's exclusive for Touche coin. So, you can buy like hoodies and stuff like that, get them shipped directly to you by spending this social token that I kind of created out of thin air.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just like trying to develop this like more ecosystem around the fungi. And in order to do that, I needed to have this like new smart contract thing working out. So we have someone working on that. And as soon as that's incorporated, we'll add it to the website. The fungi family website's getting completely redone so that you have a staking area, a shop, and all this like cool stuff that we haven't really done yet, that I really wanted to focus on. But when I first released the fungi family, I really had no idea what I was doing with smart contracts or any of that.
Uh-huh.
So as I learned more, I realized that I needed more of these features that I hadn't incorporated at the beginning. So we had to create a new smart contract for that and kind of get all that worked out. So yeah, that's where we're at right now with that. But hopefully soon the fungi families will have a lot more to do with their kind of NFT. And then from there, one of the big things that we're doing is obviously everyone wants an avatar and stuff like that. So we're doing all the fungi avatars. All the 2,500 fungi are going to have their own avatars.
Heck yeah.
And we really couldn't do that until we got over to a new smart contract, because of the way that our smart contract works. So once the new smart contract is open, you'll have the ability to kind of go in, and we're creating all the avatars right now. So you can go in and in the avatar list, select, your fungi, and then run around as the fungi. Because obviously, the coolest thing for me would be if like we're in a fungi experience and
Uh-huh.
everyone's running around as fungi. Like that's the
100%.
ultimate meta, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely. No, that'll be super cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm still like trying to find my fungi. Embarrassingly enough, I don't know what happened to it, but because I'm like now I'm thinking like I want to see what my avatar is gonna look like because I remember picking out one that I liked. I think it was one with like some spots or something, but I don't know. It definitely has some colorful stuff going on because that's kind of my vibe. But um, that was a lot.
sorry, dude. I seem
No,
to answer your questions with like 2 hour long
I mean,
paragraphs.
I mean, it's
So,
perfect because then I don't even have to like ask you questions. You know exactly where I'm trying to get to, so you're just giving it all to me, and that's perfect. But for for those of you that were not paying attention, there's a lot to unpack there, so you might want to catch the replay later. But one thing that I think is super exciting that you just kind of threw in there at the end is the avatar thing. Um, is there an estimated time when you think that that'll all happen, or is that all whatever the word is for being dependent on the contract situation?
there's a few dependencies on that. Obviously, I want it to happen as soon as possible. I think right now we're in the building stages of kind of creating all the traits and everything for that. That's not going to really take too long. What's really the whole thing with the sandbox is like you have to get on a wait list in order to get like a wait list, not a white list,
Yeah.
to get in that like avatar pool, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, once we're done with all the avatars and the smart contract is done, then we'll get on that wait list, and then hopefully by the time that one of our next experiences launches, you'll be able to play as a fungi. That's kind of the goal for me. I don't
Yeah.
really have a date for it, obviously, but definitely this year. Like that's my goal. Is like by the end of this year, I want at least 5 of the games that we're working on to be released. I don't want them all to be released because it like the storyline matters. So
Uh-huh.
like I don't want someone to play Fungi Universe before they play Fungi Kingdom, or things will kind of get out of order for them, right? So like we're developing the game so that they get released throughout the year, and then by the end of the year, I smart contract is done. We have staking enabled on the website. You have way more things that you can do with the Tuschay coin. The avatars are live. All this stuff kind of merging into like this bigger ecosystem. So it's about just growing every year a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, and I love how you've been doing everything. It just kind of figuring it out as you go, because I mean, that's kind of the stage that we're at in this whole ecosystem. Is especially if you want to be successful, is that you got to move quick and make mistakes and then fix them.
Well, it's not just that. It's like I feel like life in general, like anything in life that you ever do, if you wait until you fully figured out that thing before you do it,
hmm
you're gonna be sitting on your hands a lot,
Yeah,
right? And like that's not something I like doing. I I feel like if I don't have a lot of irons in the fire at all times, like I feel like I'm being lazy,
yeah.
and
I
like
can
I
resonate.
constantly need to be doing like a few different things so that not only just so I don't have to like just focus on one thing all day every day, but like it's good to like it's good to make mistakes. That's how you learn the most, I think. And when as you're going through these things, it's like none of these things are damaging, right? Like it's like you can make mistakes and like pick yourself up and kind of do it again in a better way. But if you're just waiting to perfect something before you do it, it's like you're never gonna get anywhere. I feel like that's my my rule in the last 32 years of my life, right? It's like always kind of just like continuously try to do something new the next day and don't worry about the end result so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's such good advice because, I mean, and like getting things like if you really are trying to get something perfect before you do it, like it'll never be perfect. So like you're just gonna be doing that for a long time because I just like perfect is a lie. I think that's a quote or a line or something, but it's true. Like,
Perfect is a lie, dude. Perfect. I mean, perfection is something that if is never achievable. Is always something you can strive for, but like I think if you have an idea of something that's perfect, you've fooled yourself. You know, like I think that the way that people should go about life is like always aim for perfection, but always know that that's like a carrot at the end of a stick, right? You're never gonna actually catch that. It's kind of just like you're heading towards it,
right.
you know.
It keeps you going in the right direction because that's a good thing to strive for is perfection. But it doesn't have to be it while you're doing it. That you're just working towards it the whole time. So take action. Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that, and also having multiple things, whatever
there
the.
was um there was a story that, or I don't know if it's a story or a quote, or I don't know how I heard this for the first time, but I heard it a long time ago, and it stuck with me so much that it's like it's always kind of driven me. There is like this, the saying goes like, when you die, you're gonna meet who you could have become, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you die, and then the person in front of you is like this perfect version of yourself, right? And it's not necessarily to like demotivate you, but it's so you can kind of start picturing what that person looks like. And so every time that you say that to someone, they have this idea of who they would meet in front of them. And
Mm-hmm.
so and it resonated with me so much because it was like your goal is basically to look as much as that person as possible,
Right.
right?
Like
Like
how close can you
you're not in
get?
the competition against Tom Cruise or whoever, like anybody famous. Like your competition is you yourself in the future, right? Like how can you get to be as close as you're perfect as possible, right? You're never gonna get there. You're always gonna look a little different than that person, but like as long as you have an idea of what that person looks like, I think you have a goal to strive for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it struck with me so it hit me so much, like years ago when I was like trying to figure out my life way more than I am now, still trying to figure it out. But like when I kind of just sat there and went like, what is the purpose to all this, and like how do I kind of like what is like everyone's life purpose, right? And I don't think there's like an answer to that. I think everyone has their individual life purpose, right? And it's what you make out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
um and so there's a song by a band called The Outline, on their album Phantasmagoria, and the song is oh, Maurice and the Oracles of the Delphi Forest or something like that. Basically, the kid goes through and he's living in this like perfect world, but he's tired of this perfect world and he wants to know what's beyond this like horizon that he always looks out at. So he packs his bags up and like he goes off and like tries to figure out what life is like beyond this like perfect world that he lives in. Um, and the song basically explores his journey throughout the like world outside of his home. And he meets these three oracles that live in a forest, and one of them is really focused on religion, the other one's really focused on attaining wealth, and the other one's really focused on finding love. And after speaking to these oracles, he finds out that each person's purpose isn't necessarily a single thing, but it's what they want from life.
Mm-hmm.
And that song like hit me like a ton of bricks one day, where it was like the end of the line, the end of the song basically says like the future's what you make it, basically. And I was just like, holy crap, like yeah, that makes so much sense. Like you have your own purpose, and so what can you do to kind of make that more of a reality? So
Right.
when I approach all this like game development stuff, it's not about trying to attain perfection. It's about trying to like tell our story as best we can, right? So that eventually, once we're done with development and we have all these games out there, you have like kind of a legacy that people can explore about what these characters mean and how they kind of evolved from what they are into what they've become, and what their purpose became, right? Like each fungi has their own purpose, and the fungi themselves as a species have a purpose that they're going for, and so that's kind of like the themes that are like really underlying all of the games and everything too.
That, I mean, that's like, it just causes, when you're like playing the games, like playing through and like learning all the way through from beginning to end, like that, I feel like that is what captures people and like holds you like as like a long-term player and like participant in whatever ecosystem that is, because you kind of, you fall in love with the story, and then you just want to know where it's going to continue to go, because inevitably it continues to go somewhere. And I think that's I could see how that's playing out with all of your games, and how they're all kind of tying together, and they're showing different sides of things. Like you have you're even showing people the bad guy side of things, which I think is cool. So right, those are
Yeah,
they're
the gastro
the
guys.
gastro guys, yeah.
Yeah, and I think like the way I originally like came up with the fun guys was like I don't know if you ever seen that movie. I always forget the name of this movie, but it's that the I think it's a Disney or a Pixar movie. They're one and the same now, but um, the like the one that they go inside of their head and they have like all these different emotions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
get the name of that movie, Inside Out,
Inside
right?
Out, yeah.
Yeah. So Inside Out was a big inspiration for the Fun Guys, where it was like that's really showing a lot of different emotions and stuff like that. For me, the fungi kingdom and the seven like main funguis are like anxiety personified, right? Like I have a lot of anxiety as a person, like social anxiety, personal anxieties, all this crazy stuff. And like, how do I personify those different emotions as characters? And so they became mushrooms for some unknown reason. Like I was basically just drawing mushrooms for a long time, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna make mushroom characters,
Yeah.
but they were named after specific anxieties, right? Like worry is worries about everything. Drippy, he's really emotionally sad about everything, and his anxiety manifests in that. Angry is angry about his anxiety, and he has all these anxieties. Talky is very talkative, and he just doesn't know when to shut up because of anxieties. Kind of like me, I'm just like constantly just adding away. So if like you look at the seven fun guys and like just smush them all together, it's me. Like that's who I am as a person. Is like all these different anxieties as like a living thing, and like that's how I kind of when I was a kid, I didn't really know who I was, so I kind of just adopted different people's patterns and behaviors, and that's who I became, right? Like, and
Don't we
so
all?
that's his right, like, and that's his shtick is like, if this fun guy's doing something and he likes it, he'll just do it himself, and so that's his personalities. Trixie is kind of like a prankster, and like he like nervously kind of pranks his people, and that's how I did that a lot in my life and everything. So like that's who the fun guys were, and like telling their story was really about telling that story of like you know anxiety in a world that you don't control everything, and how that kind of works out. And that's kind of like the real theme of what the fun guys are about, is like living through an unknown world, right? We're all living in this world that as much as we think we know things, we're scratching the surface of really what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And how do we live through it? Like how do we each steer ourselves through that maze, on a daily basis?
I love the like, there is that aspect to everything, because I think it's an important thing for people to think about and to learn about. And it feels like you're kind of bringing that to light a little bit with, um, I don't know if it's necessarily in the games, but in the community itself. I'm sure you at least you talk like amazingly about it whenever you're on the show, because this isn't the first time you've dove into
Yeah,
kind of like like if it were to give it like an overarching umbrella, like personal development. um
yeah,
a- and it's so important to pursue that, as a human individual. And I think it's cool that you're incorporating that into the stuff that you do. Do you have plans for more of that? I don't know what you're doing currently, with that, but I feel like that could be a cool twist of like something you guys could do with the overarching fungi theme. Uh,
Yeah, so that's kind of like the fungi's itself. I guess I won't. I'll spoil a little bit of what's going on. Like the fungi's themselves is really like you know this one person's anxiety, right? Like Mia isn't just a character in the game, but she's kind of living through what she's living through what I would have lived through, right? And so um her whole experience in the fungi's and everything is really teaching her a lesson. And then the follow-up games, like the fungi's isn't the only IP that we're going to develop. We have this other IP that's really the fungi is nested into that one. So really, like the big reveal on what's actually happening with the fungi's is going to be like everyone's going to realize that the fungi's isn't really the big thing inside of like this whole like universe that we're creating, the TSU, the Tuschay Studios universe. um, the fungi's is really just like a single part of this like bigger story that we're telling. And that bigger story is called Nightlight. Like Nightlight is all these kind of stories. I wish I had my buddy John next to me. When we were sitting in my tiny house years ago, we kind of developed all these like different like comics that we wanted to create, right?
mhm.
And in that like in those brainstorming sessions over months, like we kind of created all these characters that lived in a single world, right? Like, and so inside of this like world of Nightlight, it's kind of like a Sin City noir type of like dystopian. You can think of it like the way we always described it was like adult Scooby Doo. Like it was always like this like raunchy kind of like Scooby Doo vibe. The game kind of revolves, or the IP kind of revolves around this one dog who sits at a bar drinking chocolate milk, and like that's his like poison, and so it's about like this like over it's like this grown-up Scooby-Doo like mystery type of IP that Mia is just one character in that game. And how she comes about in that game is really what the fungi's is all about. So
Mm.
we're really telling like the prequel to all of that right now. And then that's going to explore a lot of other themes. Like right now we're dealing with anxiety and all that stuff, but how do we deal with like fear, and how do we deal with happiness, and how do we deal with all these different emotions? And hopefully at the end of the day there's something that everyone is attached to, right? Like there's something that like as a whole you can kind of go like this is really cool, but like this specific portion of this like world, that's who speaks to me the most. um
Yeah,
oh, give me 1 second,
yeah.
sorry.
Take a second. While he steps away, the story that he was talking about, with him and his buddy in a tiny house coming up with all of this, I definitely have heard that before. So my guess is that we talked about it on one of the two previous Behind the Avatar episodes. So if you are curious to hear more in depth on that and other things that I'm sure we talked about, you can go check out those replays. They're available on YouTube and Spotify, probably other places too, but for sure YouTube. Just go Google or YouTube Behind the Avatar, and you'll find a bunch of them, I'm sure. I don't really know how the YouTube search engine works, but just go. Once you find me, if you can find me, you'll find everything else. I could put a link there, but I don't know where it is. So there.
To answer Sparky real quick, yes, you can still fill out the form to get your fungi in the game. I'm gonna keep that open pretty much the rest of the year until we're done developing on Fungi Universe. So anyone who's stacking Touche coin can continue doing that.
And for people to stack Tuschay coin, what do they need to do? Because I just found out about this a couple months ago and felt like an
Yeah.
idiot.
No, no worries, dude.
I was like, God
We're gonna
damn
make
it.
the process a lot easier in the future once we get over to that staking smart contract and everything.
Mm.
But right now, every month we have a form that gets dropped in. Not a form, sorry. There's a bot inside of our Discord. So join our Discord. Register. Go to the role verification channel. Register your role. It's a manual process. I go through it every day and make sure that if there's anyone new, that they get added into the form. And then once you are registered, you have all the channels unlocked and everything. And from there, all you have to do is like there's a fungi command inside of the Discord. You type that in, you register the fungi, and then you're automatically in the bot register. So every month we open up the form, or the form really changes over to the next month, and all you got to do is type in /fungi status, and you click the little green button. It says join airdrop, and so at the end of every month we accumulate all the people that joined that month's airdrop, and we airdrop them their tokens. And it's if you haven't done it before, it's not a total loss because it really depends on when you first got your fungi, and there's a kind of like a multiplier on that. So
Okay.
basically, every month that you've held your fungi, you get a zero point 0.1 multiplier on your Tuschay coins. So every month, you're holding longer, you get more and more Tuschay coins for each thing. So I think you get like 100 Tuschay coins for the first month, 110 for the second, 120 kind of, and it keeps going that way. So now, a lot of people have held their fungi for like, I think it's, if you hold it for over 10 months, you have a 2 times multiplier on that. So, and then that is for every single fungi. So if you have, 5 fungi are getting 500 coins a month, and then a year later or 10 months later, you're getting 1,000 Touche coins a month. And all you got to do is check in once per month into the Discord and hit that little green button. In the future, we're going to do a staking thing. So you won't necessarily have to do that. Each fungi will accumulate on the website. So you stake your fungi, and all you got to do is whenever you want, you go into the website and claim your coins. And then there's a transaction that happens on Polygon that you get your airdrop of your coins. So it'll be a little bit easier in the future. I'm doing it because it's got, it's a manual process right now for me and Kyle to go through and kind of make sure that everyone's on the thing. Everyone still has to remember to hit the green button. Sometimes
Right.
people forget. We have Jazz Wolf that helps us out and like reminding people. She's one of the mods for the Discord, and we kind of like have to rely on our memory. And I know my memory is not that great, so I don't want to like punish people who have to remember things. So
Thank you.
we're gonna make so it's like more. Yeah, trust me. That's the thing. The more things that I can do to free up my mind space, the better.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll make it a little bit easier for people to kind of claim Touche coins, and there'll be a whole UI involved with it, so it'll look a lot prettier and stuff than it does now.
No, that's awesome. Do you have any idea when that'll happen? I forget if you've already answered that, but
The smart contract thing is being worked on right now. I think we're maybe a month or so away from getting the new smart contract implemented. And from what I'm told from the developer that's helping us out, who actually you introduced me to,
good.
um,
He's a rock star. So
yeah, he's awesome.
yeah.
I think it'll be an automatic process. So basically, you won't have to do anything. You'll just have your new fungi airdropped into your wallet. And then from there, it'll be you have to go into the website and stake your fungi if you want to. If you don't want to, you still accumulate coins, but you accumulate them at a slower rate than people who stake.
Mm.
Um, but then, yeah, and then all the fungi, the rest of the fungi collection will be mintable on the website, but it'll be kind of like a catalog search because I still wanted to have the ability for people to choose their fungi. So what I've worked out with the developer is like, is it possible to kind of have a catalog and then say, I want this fungi? And so you go, you type in the number, see if it's available, and if it is, you can mint that one specifically.
Ah, yeah, yeah. That's a smart way to approach that. I was thinking through in my head. I was like, I feel like this is definitely doable. How would I do it? And that's
Yeah.
that's that's a good way to do it for sure. That makes sense. That's probably like the easiest on the back end to implement too.
Yeah, and I wanted people to still have like the reason I released the fungi the way that I did was because I wanted people to like scroll through and like say, okay, I like this one, I want that one,
Yeah, that's what
instead of
I
having
did.
it be like instead of having it be like a mystery box, that you don't know what you're gonna get.
Hmm.
I don't think that people would be necessarily disappointed, but I think you build a better emotional attachment to something when you were able to like pick it, like almost hand pick that. Um, and specifically because we have like fungi babies and you can breed two fungi together, and so people can kind of choose which ones they want to put together. So I still wanted that ability. I didn't want to lose that like whole make sure that people vibe with what they want kind of thing. So yeah, that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it there.
So for right now, people can go. What's the best way to pick it up? Probably go to OpenSea,
Yeah,
Search
OpenSea Fungi Family
Fungi
Collection.
Family Collection.
We have all the links in our Discord. You just go to the official links and you can go to the
That's
collection.
that's what I was just gonna say. I would recommend getting in their Discord and using the links in there just so you know you're at the right spot.
Yeah,
Um,
there are fakes. So there's fake Fungi Family Collections. So basically,
Always.
definitely click on our links.
Yeah, and for people that catch in the replay, I'll try and get some links below in the description for you guys too, so you can go find them there. But I'm for sure gonna have the Discord link there, and then you can probably find everything from there. But so with the fungi's themselves, do you want to? I don't think you've ever actually talked about like what or like when or like how or this all what is a fungi, so basically you're going to be able to stake it. That's what I'm trying to get at. So what are all the just run through all of the perks, we'll call them
Yeah.
perks to having a fungi.
So your fungi, first and foremost, it allows you access to our ecosystem, which is the whole fungi like world, right? So the games, there's gated games that you're gonna have access to, airdrops for NFTs. You'll be able to claim things like Huddle Hill here is wearing the fungi party hat inside of the studio that we're in right now. So you get airdrops for like assets in the sandbox. You get the ability to mint our future NFT collections, which I haven't really talked too much about, but I'll spill some beans here in a second.
Ayo.
Then you get the Tuschay coin, which is huge in order to be able to participate in the ecosystem. So that'll give you access to the new NFT collections, and then being able to do cool things like adding your fungi into a game and stuff like that. But furthermore, there's going to be obviously the staking and stuff. You can breed your fungi. So like a few team members here, I'll call out Huddle Hill again because she's here. She created a fungi baby out of two of the fungi that she liked. And that process is basically I sit on Twitch and I draw a new fungi baby. And so you get a fungi baby. There's other kind of planned merge collections. We're going to release like Twitter banners called Fungi Family Reunion, where basically it'll be like a vertical, a horizontal, sorry, like banner type of NFT that you can then have like all your little fungi in one area, choose a background, and I'll put that all together and draw it on Twitch.
Dope.
So you get the fungi babies, you get the staking, you get the access to the games, you get airdrops inside of the sandbox. We'll do airdrops for different NFTs as well. So we did like a greeting card at one point. We did like birthday cards and stuff like that. We did a Christmas thing. So you get all those. Sparky, I'm sorry that I know you missed the stream, the baby streams. I'll be back to those soon. It's really hard juggling all these things. I
Oh.
wish I could clone myself like so badly. If
Wouldn't that be
anyone
nice?
develops a cloning machine, I'm gonna be the first experimental person in there. Be like, I don't care. Like if I don't know what's gonna happen. I'll just see if I can clone myself. But yeah, I'll be able to. But a lot of that is like interactive stuff. So like I sit on Twitch and kind of like communicate with the community of what they want to see, and I draw it and stuff like that. The next collection that we have coming out, which is part of the fungi ecosystem, is the mushroom houses. So that'll be a new NFT collection that I'm working on. That's basically kind of every fungi needs a home, and there's these mushroom houses that they all live in. And what that'll all be a whole thing, and you'll be able to mint those with Tuschay coin or ETH, depending on if you have the Tuschay coin or if you're just brand new to the ecosystem and you just want a mushroom house and you don't want a fungi. So you'll be able to do that. But yeah, as much as I can think of, really, I guess is the answer. Like
Yeah.
the ecosystem really just evolves, and it's all really revolved around these people that like trusted me enough to be a part of this project and kind of join the community. I think I've talked about it on this chat before, or on your podcast before, but for me, the fungi isn't necessarily like a collection where it's like an investment into something. For me, it's like people are investing in me as an artist, and so I use it very much like a Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like if there's anything that I can do for these people that trust me in order to pay for a piece of my art, like now I have this community that I can kind of like you know be revolve around, right? Like
Yep.
I used to sell paintings, like this thing in the back. I used to sell paintings at like art galleries and stuff like that, and it was really hard to like track down people and like thank them, right? Now we have the ability to like look into someone's wallet that owns one of my pieces of art and then go and directly say like thank you, here you go, and you bought this one thing for $30 one time, but I'm going to continuously for the rest of my life thank you, and
Yes.
so
That's
it's big like that. Like that's what my plans are with the fun guys, really.
Yeah, that's huge with the ability of NFTs, and that's one thing that I think I recognized early on is it's going to be so easy to just continue to give back to people that have supported you, and obviously the people that support you from the beginning are going to get a lot more kickback because they're going to get everything that is added on over time.
Right.
And I think that's just such a great way to do it because you are doing something that is giving people value, and they are getting stuff in return for like participating and hanging out and spreading the word and all that stuff. Kind of goes
Yeah, like
together.
going back to like the anxiety thing, that was a huge anxiety for me as an artist, right? Like think thinking back before NFTs, how could we possibly like create not just a job around art, but like you were very lucky in before NFTs if you could create something that sustained you, right? Like
Hmm.
paid rent, right?
Right.
For a while, selling these paintings and stuff, like I sold them for a nice chunk, but like I sold maybe one, two a month, and it wasn't like I'd be able to live off of that, right? Now these people trust me and like dig my art enough that they are willing to like be a part of my community and like join me on Twitch and stuff, and like that's super humbling as an artist. Like I think that the the creator economy these days is better than it's ever been because of NFTs. And it's not because we'll be able to make a killing off of it. That's not really what it's about. It's more about like you're able to have this like community around your art,
Hmm.
and that I never gave a Discord channel out to anyone that bought my paintings before to keep in contact with me.
Right.
Like, but now like you buy a fungi, you're part of this like Discord channel that I'm in there literally most of the day, like besides when I'm sleeping, and even then, like my phone's on. I'm like constantly communicating with these people, and it's just like very, very crazy for me to be able to have. Um, I don't want to say a following, but like supporters, people that
Yeah.
support art, people that like have, even if they don't really care about everything else that we're doing, like they're supportive enough to like they gave me $1 at some point, and
Yeah.
that helped me feed my dogs and put a roof over my head, and like that's crazy to me, like, and so as much as I can do to like continuously like hug those people is what I'll do, and like that's really all this is about. Like if it wasn't for everybody that has a fungi and like trusts me enough as an artist to continue my vision, I'd be working a 9 to 5 still, and like that's I'm lucky enough that I don't have to do that now, and I instead created a company and was able to like create more things for those people, right? And so that's if I ever find out a way to give everybody a car, I'll do it, like because it's just it's crazy to me that they trust me enough to do this. I always thought like after I sold paintings, I sold stickers, and I still sell stickers on my website. And like the sticker business was good. I figured out a long time ago that it's a lot harder to sell something for $100, but a lot easier to sell 100 things for $1, right?
Hmm.
And so I started creating stickers and stuff, and like got a lot of traction on Instagram because people shared it, and I got on some pages and stuff like that. And then that kind of started creating a community around the art, and I was like it blew me away that like people, like I would get online and there would be messages about specifically about the stuff that I created. And I thought that that was the pinnacle, like that was the best that it was going to get.
Yeah.
And now we're here where it's like now we have these like a trackable way. Now I know who has my sticker. You know what I mean? Like, and I can go and say like, thank you for buying that sticker. Here's 10 more that you didn't ask for, that you didn't know you were gonna get. And
Yeah.
like, if I can keep doing that for the rest of my life, I'll be extremely happy on my deathbed. So that's what I'm shooting for.
For sure. I mean, that is the goal. I mean, that's my goal. And it seems like it's obviously your goal. So, and you're doing a good job at it so far. I think I would be shocked if if you told me in 20 years. Um, Obviously, I hope you live a lot longer than 20 more years. But if you told me in 20 years that you weren't able to be continuing to do what you just explained, so I think you are going to be on your deathbed a happy dude
Right.
because
The last thing I want to watch on my deathbed is the I want to binge watch my own TV show, my own cartoon, right? And so like
yes,
I'm shooting for that, right? Like my ultimate goal with the fungi specifically is to create a fungi cartoon show where like we have all the fungi in there, and then guest appearances from like fungi family members make it into the show. And so we can, if someone wants to voice act and they never voice act before, like you can give
yeah,
your own character a voice, you can give them our own storyline, and then you can maybe show your kid like, hey, remember when we bought that NFT and now it's in a show, and now like the kids are enjoying the show and stuff. Like that would be the absolute coolest for me. So like we're
fuck
trying
yeah,
to we're trying to get there. There's a few things that we've tried to actually bring the cartoons to life and stuff, and so far it's like I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still working on trying to figure that out, and what the actual medium is that we're using, whether it's Blender or we're using Adobe Animate or a mixture of things. But ultimately, my goal, and it has been since I was a kid, is like, and that's why I started drawing. Like I started drawing because I was watching cartoons, and
uh
like I would like pause the cartoon and like draw was on the screen.
huh,
And so as a an adult, if I could go back to my 8-year-old self and be like, hey dude, one day you'll have a cartoon on that
right,
show, on that TV show or something. That would be insane for me. So that's my ultimate goal as like a creator, is like creating that cartoon. And then from there, the whole ecosystem, Nightlight, I wanted to be a card, like all these things that John and I created in the tiny house. It was basically revolving around pitches that we were going to send to Cartoon Network. um, and like here's 5 different pitches all revolving one universe. Like if you buy one, that's fine, but like really what we want to do is create the whole world,
uh
right? Like
huh,
that's and so now that I kind of have like we're closer to that step. It's like back when we were doing this, we realized how difficult it was going to be because we needed animators and writers and voice actors and all these different things that really create a studio that can actually put together a cartoon. um, and obviously we didn't have money. Like I
yeah,
was living in a tiny house in the backyard of my parents' house, like, and that I had built over like a summer, and like the only reason I did that was because I couldn't afford renting in the place that we were living. So like I had to live in basically a glorified trailer, which I love. Like the tiny house experience was something that I still fondly think about, and
I
like
bet,
you know, and so, but it allowed me to really delve into the creativity of like, what do you want to do in life, right? And like for me it was create, and I wanted people to consume my media. I think as artists, I haven't found an artist yet that creates to put it in a closet. Like it's always like create and show it off, right? Like I
yeah,
want people to jive with what I just put out there, right? So if I could do that, like, and people continuously watch my show or consume my graphic novel, whatever medium it is, I'm living the life as an artist, right? Like that's the ultimate goal, is like people dig your stuff and they want to continuously put out or consume any media that you create. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like the idea of it before, when I even presented the fungi to the sandbox. It was using that pitch deck. It was like, here's these characters and here you go. And then Seb was like, bring them to the sandbox, and I was like, all right, let's do it. So now that we have the studio, we're a step closer to being able to um, build a cartoon and like
yeah.
achieve this vision that I never really saw a path towards. Now there's a path before me. and I gotta kind of just keep trudging along and hoping get closer. You know.
Dude, I'm excited for you because I love everything you've already accomplished, and I can just see it all kind of playing out. Who knows exactly how it's gonna play out, but it's gonna be a
Yeah.
cool journey to be a part of somehow. Obviously, I'm gonna try and keep having you on the show, so that'll be my little touch on, onto this journey. But it'll be an awesome one to watch from the sidelines as well. And as part of the Fungi fam, because I love what you're doing, and I'm gonna try and pay more attention to everything. You know how the space is. Um,
Yeah,
I
we'll have your fun guy in the game as a podcaster. Maybe we can
Yeah.
give him a little studio inside of one of the games.
Oh,
He's
that'd
like
be dope.
constantly just like interviewing different fun guys.
Yes,
That'd
that'd be
that'd be a lot of fun.
that'd be dope as hell. I'll submit that form today
Sweet dude.
after the show. Well, I shouldn't promise that. I'll submit it tomorrow. Probably is more likely how it's gonna play out. But yeah, I think that would be awesome. I still haven't I still haven't found which wallet it's in, but I have many wallets. So I think it might be in one of I used to use one wallet that now just has all Polygon stuff on it because
Nice.
you can't transfer multiple Polygon assets at the same time.
Can you not?
Um,
I had no idea. That's new to me.
yeah,
I didn't-
at least not in a way that I know how. Like you can't do it on OpenSea. You can't like transfer
Oh, interesting.
more than
Hmm.
one at a time, but you can do you can do quite a few, if not as many as you want for on Ethereum. But whatever. So everything's sitting in that one wallet, and I don't have that with me. But yeah, needless to say, everything that you are doing is super cool, and I know that judging by people in the chat that they love everything that you're doing as well. Um, I think that this is probably a good spot for us to start wrapping up things.
Yeah.
Thank you, obviously, for coming on. I love chatting with you, and I look forward to our next chat already. If you want to take any time to just let people know where they can find you, really is the most
Yeah.
important piece of that.
I guess the biggest thing is go to discord.gg/fungi. That's how you get into our Discord channel and become a part of that ecosystem. You can find me on Twitter at Tuschay Studios. And then hopefully you'll see us in season 4.
I was gonna
In
I was gonna
a
say
few games.
I don't know if we get to everything that you wanted to talk about too. By the way, I didn't get to ask you that before I
Uh,
started closing things down because
I didn't spill all the beans, but I'm happy to leave it here and talk about more beans on another episode of Behind the Avatar or Metaverse Spotlight or I don't know what you're calling these days, but
this
I'm
one's
super
a
proud of you, dude. I love how you're evolving this ecosystem. This is like I don't know if I can say that I'm proud of you, but I am. This is like
sure you can.
super cool to like be like like the first time we did this, it was like I think it was like a Twitter space or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
and then we
definitely.
did a Twitch, and now we're doing like this inside of the game and everything. I'm super happy to see how this is developing, and like I really can't wait to see like what else you do with it. I think this is like one of the cooler things that's happening in the sandbox right now is like
Wow.
being able to sit down and talk with creators and stuff like that. It gives perspectives. You know, a lot of the things I talk about on this show, I never really even talk about on my own channels. And, you know, it takes someone asking you these questions to really come up with answers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool to see, like, you have great questions. You have a really good, like, atmosphere here. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool to be a part of this. So thank you, dude. Like, this is really awesome.
Well, yeah, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate you saying it, and I I feel like I resonate a lot with your story and your journey because obviously we're on different paths, but I think of things the same way as you, and like this is just what I love doing. I love talking to people. I love getting to know people's stories, and I love just kind of picking apart how how people do things and admittedly giving my own unsolicited advice because that's just what I do on a day-to-day basis is just like whenever I see things I'm like, oh, how would I do that, or would I do that differently, or this or that, or like it just like all and the metaverse in general is just something that really sparked something in me early on. So I love talking about it and just learning more and more about it and just seeing how other people are doing things. So that's kind of what has happened with the show, and I think it's just going to continue to evolve. So um, I'm grateful for having the ability to bring people like yourself on to the show and give people somebody to listen to other than just me, because if it was just me talking up here, I don't know if it would be the same quality of content. For those of you that watch my my solo streams, you can understand. But yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for showing up and listening. Like that's a big thing that has kept this going, is your guys' support and just you guys being here, lending your ears and asking questions along the way whenever you have them, even though I miss them in the chat all the time. So I appreciate you guys all for being here, and we are going to get more beans on a later episode from your man Touche. But until then, um, you take it easy, Touche, and
Thanks, Crafter. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching. Thank you to the Touche Studios team. You guys are absolutely killing it. I can't wait till people get to play all the hard work that you guys have been working on. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of beans. There's always going to be more beans, I think. But we'll open those cans at a later time. The one thing I'll say about season 4 is my plan is, and the way things are looking is, you'll have multiple fungi experiences. So that'll be fun.
hey,
I'm excited about kind of doing more, and then actually getting you guys to play the games and not just like the social hub environments, and seeing what those are all about. So I'm super excited about that. And then yeah, guys, thank you so much for the support as always. Like it's not lost on me. I wouldn't be anywhere without people that believed in me, and I think you guys are a huge part of that. So a lot of love to you. A lot of love to you, Crafter. This has been amazing again. And I want to be back in a month or so to talk more and spill some more beans.
hell yeah. Well, I was gonna say the door is always open for you, man. So whenever you want to come and vibe or spill beans, you're more than welcome to come on and do so. So we love having you. The chat loves having you. Um, and I just look forward to our next chat, because I know it's going to be some more exciting new
It
stuff.
always is, dude.
Yeah,
It always is.
definitely. So, and thanks again, guys, for showing up. I'm gonna switch over to the loading screen. Let me know if there's anyone that I should rate or anything. And if you're catching the replay, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, whatever other buttons you can do. Drop some comments below who you want to
Actually,
see next.
speaking of raids and team members, Wayward is live right now. If you want to raid her.
Hell yeah, that's where we'll be going. So hang on, guys. We are going for a fun ride over to Wayward Stream, which is always a delight. You guys
Much
have
love,
a good
everybody.
night.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate you all.
thank you guys. Peace.